He's like, we are really getting in a problem where the customer, whatever, they don't know what paint colors they want. So they ask these painters, professional painters,
Right.
for their opinion or suggestion, and they give it to them. Well, then they get it, and they get it on the wall, and they're like, I don't like it. And they're becoming responsible for it because they suggested it.
Right.
And because they're doing the work, they're like, oh, you can change it for free.
But see, for us, it was kind of the same thing. Before we had y'all, we would give suggestions on a bathroom or a kitchen and not really know. Like I said, our room that we're sitting in is gray. Exactly the point.
And flat.
And they know how to paint, but the vision piece or picking colors, the importance of having an interior designer. Now, you do paint consultations.
Right.
We do that.
With that said, we actually have a designer going out today for a paint consult. And that's a growing selection that we offer because not many people know that we do that, and they don't know they need it.
Well, that's the kicker, right? They think they like a color. And so say, for instance, like if you don't do a paint consult and we go in and we do a remodel without an interior designer and without your assistants, right? Because some people just don't want to pay the money for a designer. And we always try to talk them into it because they can show us a picture, we make it happen. But when it comes to offering suggestions, we're gonna say that looks good, and it may not. Okay, but on the paint side of things, we go in and we're going to paint whatever color they provide, right? And if they ask, we're going to say, sure, we don't always know, but are you a professional selection person, right? How do you quantify or qualify a paint consultation where for us, we charge $150? So we charge $150 to come out and consult about a paint color.
Right.
Where do you even start with that? Depending on the
for
fate.
the most part, they'll have an idea of what direction they're going. It's usually lighter. A lot of people are getting away from the grays now. So they're looking for warmer colors, brighter environments, especially down here, I feel like.
But see, you already know so much more than I ever. People are looking for warmer color.
Right.
I'm not going to say that as a contractor. And even as a professional painter, you can say what's trending. Hey, we've been painting a lot of X. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's just what you're painting a lot of. But that's not, it's going to look good on this surface. It's going to look good combined with this.
Right.
Even you saying, you're already speaking so much more knowledge than we have, but how can we talk to the client and them not hold us liable? Because that's what's happening, right?
Right, exactly.
That's what the painter said.
So I would encourage in that situation for, even with the ones that we've done paint consults with, that they need to, you can Google those images, you can see those colors. You can Google the images, you can see them. Instagram is a great way to do that. I'm not as familiar with Facebook, but you can hashtag that paint color and it will show you all those images.
And
so
we've tagged, you've done some stuff where we've tagged Sherwin-Williams and different colors that they're using, but where do you get that information from? As a designer, you continually tell me what's not trending and what is. Gray is out. But like, where does that information come from?
Well, you're currently working with whatever. If they want to keep their furniture, then you have to consider that. You have to consider their light. I think it's just, I was a teenager and painting every wall in my bedroom.
Right.
So a lot of that's just trial and error and experience. But
well, see, and that's the part I think you hit on is the experience factor, is the fact that you have experience in this, and when you're doing a color consult, it's not just something general. You're fact finding. You're asking questions. You're looking at what's there. Then when we're doing like a remodel, you're taking into consideration what we're going to put there, because potentially you're helping them make those selections along the way. Does that all fit into the color scheme? Because typically we do the painting at the end of a project.
Right.
We really want everything done, and then we send the painters in and they do their thing.
Yep.
And so you were saying that the painter is not necessarily the best at saying, I guess, not what's trendy, but like if this will look good with something.
They can have an opinion about it, but I think what this particular painter I was talking to this morning is trying to steer away from is the liability, basically, that comes with their opinion. Because they're ending up having to go back and fix or correct something that they suggested, sadly. And when you're coming in as a paint consult professional or a designer, when you actually have that title with your name, I feel like there's automatically some trust with that, in your opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
And then if you're able to show them some work in that color that you've done, a lot of things that the biggest thing that throws someone off is the sheens. They're just really confused when they're like, "Oh, I didn't know."
So sometimes it's also not just the visual part, but it's having the knowledge of the product, right? So now you're talking sheens, and aesthetically, like an eggshell or satin or gloss, or looks different than flat, but also can affect the way the entire room looks. Is that, would you say that's true as well?
That's true. I tend to lean more what's practical. So if you have animals or kids, you want walls that can wipe easily.
Flat is terrible. Yes. And you know what? My dad loves to paint it. This is flat.
Yep.
He loves to paint everything flat. It's easy. They just go through it. But
and usually in new builds, a pretty large builder down here actually does flat. Most of them do, because it is easier to touch up.
Absolutely.
But it gets dirty so easily
that eggshell
you're touching up all the time.
Yes, and that's the thing. And it costs a little more to paint with a eggshell or a different sheen than it does a flat. There is some cost in there, and when it happens on our punch list all the time. When you get to the end of the build, they're really analyzing what they can see behind the walls. They don't care so much, and so if it's rolled out unevenly with a satin or an eggshell, you can see it's highlighted a little better, right? Than with a flat. Flat kind of evens itself out. I understand from the builder or painter or contractor's perspective, but for me, it's like what you say with the client, and if they've got young kids or something that are going to be bumping walls or animals, that flat doesn't hold up. There's two sides to it. How do you encourage somebody to go with not go with the cheapest paint or material or something like that?
I don't think it has come down really to a cost deal breaker. I think that's something that you probably don't want to have to change very often.
Right.
Especially if you're already finishing a construction project, you don't want to go into another one in the next year or two. So
absolutely.
They're pretty much wanting to lock in, and I think we do use Sherwin-Williams paint, so I feel like their name alone is quality, and people trust that too.
And just kind of tying it all back together, it really takes some experience, even with something as simple as a paint color. And most of the time, the contractor, they know how to apply the paint. They can tell you about the product most of the times. They can tell you general stuff about what they're going to do, how to not make a mess, how to keep the job site safe.
Right.
But what looks good and what's trending, or what looks good with what they already have in the house, that comes from an experienced designer, right? And a paint consultation is, now if you're going to go work on a project with us, is a paint consultation a part of the overall design package? Or
so what I heard was that we have 3 colors for our estimates that are included in our estimate.
Up to. Let me clarify. What she's saying is we charge a per square foot price or a per project price. But when you start to add multiple colors in multiple rooms to the project, it does add money. You're not just going to buy a 5-gallon bucket of a standard color and painting throughout where it's quick and you can do. You're starting to add colors. You're having to do a little more work. It takes a little more effort and more time. We do allow 3 colors, and then beyond the 3 colors, we charge. we charge a little more. And so that's something just to be aware of for you is they get 3 colors. And then if they want more, then we have to charge for more, right? But so when I'm saying in general, if you're doing a project, and for us, we have a few ways to make money, the consults and things like that are one of them. But if you're putting together a package for a new home or a remodel and saying, hey, I'm going to do 10 hours or I'm going to spend 20 hours on your project, is the paint a part of that package originally?
Yeah.
And if they want just a paint consult,
then we
do just a paint consult.
Right. And that would usually just be an hourly rate.
And
where the other ones that you're speaking of are all
we package.
packaged.
We put package selections
You're picking out
and
a
time,
lot more
and
than just that.
you're spending time shopping,
Right.
and then when I can't overemphasize it. We'll close it out with this, and you just tell me your thoughts on it. Essentially, for us, I know some people might think, well, $150 is a lot of money, but some of the paint jobs we do are tens and twenties of thousands of dollars. And the last thing you want to do is spend $20,000 on a paint job and not like it. $150 isn't even a percent of 20,000, right? Would you agree with that?
Right.
Is that why the emphasis is so high? And it is really important because it's not the painter or contractor's fault. Once they paint it, if they did a good job and did get paint everywhere, kept the job clean, and it's a good paint job, it's not on them to repaint the house because you don't like the color.
That's right.
And it is worth whatever, and that's just what we charge. Other people may charge something different, but it is absolutely worth that to know you need to get a paint consultation from a professional who knows.
That's true.
Good.
I agree.
All right. Thanks. See? And you know what's funny?